This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, a Dunedin 20-something game developer is one of 5 receiving Kickstart funding. Every week is Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori for One Cromwell whānau who are bringing up their tamariki bilingually. And 43 women out of thousands whose breast cancer scans were incorrectly read are still waiting to be checked. Kia ora, tēnā koutou koukrua. Good evening, ko Melissa Barton, aho. A Dunedin computer game developer is just one of 5 in the city to receive government funding to help kickstart his business. 25-year-old Joshua Hunt has received $40,000 to help develop his role-playing game Blackheart, which he hopes to link up to a game publisher in the near future.
Dunedin-based computer game developer Josiah Hunt is in the middle of creating his own game, which is being seen as having a good potential for success on the international market. Called Blackheart, it's a role-playing game with a bit of a difference in that there's an emotional quality to the quest, with plenty of family rivalry along the way.
The player is the youngest member of a royal family called the Blackhearts. You're sort of living in the shadow of your elder siblings who are very influential and powerful in this world, but they're also quite narcissistic and power hungry, and so your character is going out into the world and exploring and learning about this external threat that's looming and helping to sort of prevent this inner feuding and unite everybody to face a common threat which is threatening to destroy the world essentially.
Hunt registered his company Hyporeal last year and has now received a $40,000 government grant to help get his game over the line. His company's office is at Petri Dish on Stafford Street, where he gets plenty of support from other game developers such as Kylie Jackson of the Otipoti Games Company.
Everybody is looking to try and help each other and build each other up. I regularly connect with a lot of other indie developers. We trade expertise and ideas and knowledge with each other on a regular basis.
While the visuals are being created by other artists, he's finding himself very busy writing the computer code and driving the overall game's concept and narrative.
I am wearing a lot of hats, as a lot of indie developers have to do. I do most of the designs in terms of laying out sort of the specifications of how things are going to look and how things are going to feel and how they're going to sound. But it's up to the artists to really have their own take on that and turn it into something real.
Hunt is hoping to have an early version of the game ready soon for potential game publishers to look at, in the hope for a deal for worldwide marketing once the final version of Blackheart is ready. In Dunedin, The South Today.
Work is continuing on the site of a former car park, which is to be the home of the Accident Compensation Corporation in Dunedin. Ngā Tahu Property took ownership of the Dowling Street car park from the Dunedin City Council last month and began the groundwork for a brand new 4-storey building to house the ACC in the city. The development comes at a cost of 125 parks being removed from the central city, adding to Dunedin's parking woes. ACC is to lease the site from Ngā Tahu for 20 years, and the office will bring together a workforce of up to 650 people from 4 sites. The building is expected to be completed in 2024, with about 100 workers on site during construction. Learning Te Reo Māori is a team effort for One Cromwell whānau. Josh and Sarah Dunn are learning and improving their reo, while bringing up their tamariki in a bilingual whare.
The Dunn whānau of Cromwell are bringing up 2-year-old Te Ariki Koha and 10-month-old Whiu Tamati in a bilingual whare, using both English and Te Reo Māori.
We know the importance of knowing our language and our heritage and how it really builds courage and confidence. So yeah, that's something that we want to build in our children's courage and confidence.
Josh Dunn grew up in Northland, where he says conversations in Te Reo Māori are quite commonplace. But his wife, Sarah Dunn, says despite growing up under a Māori mother, there were few opportunities for conversations in Te Reo in rural Taurus. She says they're beginning small with their tamariki.
Yes, we started learning individual words. So like table is tepu, and kai, everyone knows kai is food, wai is for water. And then we started going through the kids' books, and like as he'd learn animals, we'd find out, okay, what's the word for lion? And we'd look that up, and it's the raiona, and then we just keep going with each animal, and that's how we sort of started getting individual words.
Sarah Dunn says at 2 years and 10 months old, both tane, or boys, are understanding basic sentences in Te Reo Māori. She says it's quite easy to begin sharing the Māori language at home.
Start small, just with individual words. Get a dictionary, like I highly recommend the app Te Aka on the phone. And yeah, try not to use Google because it's not very reliable. And yeah, just use it in your everyday life. You don't have to go through like proper formal structures of grammar and stuff, but just using words that you'll use every day, you're more likely to remember it.
She says giving it a go and not being whakamā or shy about it is a great way to share Te Reo Māori. Ki te reo, or in Cromwell, the South today.
One person has been killed in a helicopter crash in Otago this morning. Police were alerted to an overdue helicopter about 5:30 a.m. The aircraft is believed to have flown from Milton over State Highway 8 towards Lawrence and the Glendhu Forest. The Rescue Coordination Centre says the helicopter was found crashed in Deep Creek, west of Dunedin. It's understood the pilot was the sole occupant. 17 women have been cleared of having cancer as part of an urgent reassessment of 60 breast scans performed on Otago and Southland women. However, a further 43 women are still waiting to be seen, as Pacific Radiology deals with the fallout from a radiologist who routinely failed to spot cancers in breast scans carried out in the South. The doctor no longer works for Pacific Radiology, which has had to re-examine more than 7,500 scans, he read, between January 2020 and May 2021. Radiologist Jacqueline Copeland says the organisation went through robust internal quality assurance processes and found the doctor had missed many cancers, which were then picked up by the other doctors working at Pacific Radiology. As a result, the decision was made to review more than 5,400 screening mammograms read by the doctor between May 2020 and May 2021. Still to come on the South today, we have this week's edition of Global Insight with International Affairs Specialist Professor Robert Patman. So catch this and more after the break.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Sharpen up! My mate John sharpened his pencil this weekend. He's taken 19% off lamp and coffee tables and a whopping 50% off Optima beds. Plus there's tons more deals in store. So sharp, you'll cut yourself. No one beats John on price. Sharpen up! This weekend only at John's Furniture Warehouse, Stafford Street.
Where did you get that furniture from? Stafford Street. And my mate John.
Welcome back. Police say there was no COVID-19 boundary breach by an Auckland entrepreneur and his employee who left the lockdown city and flew on a chartered plane to Wanaka. The man and woman left Auckland on Saturday. It's understood they chartered a plane based in Hawke's Bay, which travelled to Auckland, collected them and flew directly to Wanaka. Flight tracking data shows they landed in Wanaka just before midday. Police were later alerted and began an investigation. A source says the couple appeared to have all the relevant documentation, allowing them to leave Auckland and travel to Wanaka. In a statement this afternoon, police say they reviewed the business travel documentation and are satisfied the pair were permitted to travel to certain parts of New Zealand for work purposes. In today's Global Insight, Professor Robert Patman says there's a deeply concerning precedent that has been set by a new security deal between Australia, the United States and the United Kingdom. The international affairs commentator says the new AUKUS Enhanced Security Partnership sets a precedent that endangers nuclear non-proliferation.
Welcome, Robert.
Round of Bruce.
We're hearing today about a new security deal between Australia, the United States and the United Kingdom. This seems like a sudden announcement. Is this a new thing and what's it all about?
Well, we understand that discussions were informally underway since March, and Australia seems to be the prime mover initially, but Britain also has been very keen, in fact taken something of a lead role once the process was underway. So this is quite a significant development. It pledges these three countries to cooperate in the areas of technology, advanced technology, industrial capabilities and also supply chains to enhance their cooperation, and it's pitched at the Indo-Pacific region, and the idea is they see this region as being, with some justification, as a major security challenge, not just because of the rise of China but because there is unresolved territorial disputes in the region, and these three countries have come together. And the first part, or the first offshoot from this agreement, this security pact, is an agreement to give Australia's submarines a nuclear-powered capability. They stress that this is not Australia becoming a nuclear power, but that Australia's submarines can stay at sea much longer.
You said that China is one of the reasons for this deal. How will China respond?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? China wasn't singled out in all three countries during their joint announcement, which was virtual. It wasn't pitched at any one country, but I think there's little doubt that China's the major concern. China now has one of the largest navies in the world, and it has unresolved territorial disputes. There is tension also with Taiwan and Hong Kong, and the territorial disputes relate to the South China Sea, where China, I think, has a 90% claim on all the area concerned.
There is the Five Eyes agreement that includes Canada and New Zealand. So why hasn't New Zealand been included in this deal?
It's a good question, but you could also pitch it, why hasn't Canada been included? I think there are a variety of reasons. Firstly, in New Zealand, and it was a sort of formative point in our development as a country, has rejected nuclear power as being part of our security apparatus. We've gone for a non-nuclear security policy, and so there's no possibility, and we don't, have submarines. So from their point of view, if you like, the UK, Australia, and the United States, we have less to offer than military. I think the second reason, which is not unrelated, is that New Zealand takes a different view of the international security situation. We share many of the things with the US, Australia, and the UK, but it was really striking when the United States invaded Iraq, for example, in 2003. We didn't join Australia and the UK in the invasion of that country. We saw that as a fundamental challenge to the rules-based system and rejected it. I don't think we have any illusions about China as a country, but I think New Zealand much prefer a more broad-based multilateral approach. New Zealand is developing close relations with Japan. Japan hasn't been included in this Indo-Pacific Security Pact. In fact, you could say this Indo-Pacific Security Pact only involves one country which is actually located within the Indo-Pacific. And I think New Zealand is very conscious, perhaps more sensitive than Australia is, to the views of other players in the region and how this will come across. So I think New Zealand will retain its close relationship within the Five Eyes, intelligence sharing, but will choose to project those values and interests and its commitment to a rules-based order in a different way. After all, New Zealand doesn't necessarily believe that some members of the Five Eyes are as consistent as they should be in upholding the rules-based order.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Catch us next time on Global Insight. Ka kite anō.
And you can watch the full interview with Professor Patman online at odt.co.nz. Still to come on the South today. Conservation projects across the South are set to benefit from a large cash injection, and we take a look at tomorrow's weather for you. So see you after the break.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Sharpen up! My mate John sharpened his pencil this weekend. So sharp, you'll cut yourself. No one beats John on price. This weekend only at...
And my mate John.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Thanks for staying with us. 9 conservation projects across the south are set to benefit from an injection of almost $18 million. The government funding boost could create close to 200 new jobs. The cash injection aims to protect native flora and fauna and eradicate invasive species in the southern region. Among the recipients, almost $5 million is to be spent over 3 years to clean up Lake Hayes near Arrowtown, with the aim of making it safe for swimming again. The presence of fertilisers in the lake's catchment has caused frequent toxal algae blooms that makes it unsafe for people and dogs. Yellow-eyed penguin, or hoiho, will benefit from almost $500,000 to fund 2 full-time and 2 part-time roles. The jobs will be based on monitoring where the endangered penguins are and lay foundations for future work to help the populations recover. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. A Dunedin 20-something game developer is one of 5 receiving Kickstart funding to create video games. Every week is Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori for One Cromwell whānau, who are bringing up their tamariki bilingually as a matter of course. And 43 women out of thousands whose breast cancer scans were incorrectly read are still waiting to be seen as Pacific Radiology continues checking work. Look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, a nice view of a cold spring's day in Dunedin. Plenty of cloud on eastern coast tomorrow, but fine and cold inland with widespread frost. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, it's mostly sunny with the occasional cloud in Westport, 14 degrees for both Greymouth and Westport. Moving to the northeast, cloudy here with 13 degrees in Nelson and 10 degrees in Blenheim. Moving down to Canterbury, cloud and 9 degrees in Kaikoura, cloud and 8 degrees for Otautahi, Christchurch, and it's the same for Ashburton with 11 degrees. To the southern towns, light winds and fine weather for all in this region. The Catlins and Balclutha reach 13 degrees, Lumsden and Gore 14. Moving to the Central Lakes, light winds and fine weather for all here with 13 degrees in Queenstown, Wanaka, Alexandra and Tiana. Moving to the northern towns, light easterlies and cloud on the coast with 11 degrees in Timaru and Oamaru. Slightly lower on 10 degrees inland, and looking at light winds, fine weather and 13 degrees for both Twizel and Damarama. In Ōtepoti, Dunedin, cloudy tonight with a low of 6, cloudy and cold tomorrow and Saturday with light to moderate northeasterly winds. Friday a high of 9 and a low of 6. Saturday a high of 9 and a low of 5. And Waihopai in Invercargill, frosty tonight with a low of -1. Mostly fun and sunny tomorrow and Saturday with light winds, cool temperatures, a high of 13 and a low of 0. Becoming fine and sunny on Friday with light winds. Friday sees a high of 11 and a low of -1. Saturday a high of 14 and a low of 0. For our news this Thursday, for the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and you can follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube to be notified of southern news as it happens. Nō reira, kia pai te pou, kia kitea anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.